Back again for more pain. This time we're on Maple Lane with Dr. Fright. And let me tell you, this looks really intense. I have not seen this yet. This is the first time I've cracked this open. I just read through the rules. The actual game, the physical copy, will come with, I believe it's just two. I cut them in half so that I could laminate these things. I know I have problems. And gives you whole sets of different instructions for the location here, Maple Lane. So I want to read that first here. Maple Lane runs through a typical American suburban neighborhood in the quaint town of Spring Hill. Maple Lane was a street like any other, at least until someone got murdered. Now the residents are fearful of outsiders and weary of each other, but that doesn't stop them from gathering for holidays and letting their children play in the streets. They may soon regret having such a false sense of security. I feel like that should be wary, not weary. They're not tired of each other, I guess, right? They're maybe a little scared of each other. Anyway, this is Maple Lane. And, for fun, I wonder if this would work here. A little bit. So there you can kind of see how Maple Lane is laid out. There's little homes. There's quadrants here, right? And there's 3 homes in each section, because this way it won't zoom. And I have fought with that thing, and let me tell you, it's not worth the time. It's not worth the trouble, because then it will not refocus down here when I need it. So this is what we're going to have to work with. One other thing we have to notice here is that it has 4 different search zones, right? See up at the top, northwest, southwest, northeast, and southeast. Obviously, you can see, in fact, they even labeled it in the map here, right, in the corners. Obviously, if you're bad at, directions. So there's only 3 homes here. So when we look over let me see if I actually have do I have the information here somewhere? I do, right here. Look at that. Okay, so the escape places and, let's see, the normal and escape places are all considered street, as well as the intersection that was in the middle. The houses are all searchable locations. And remember, I said there were 4 there. That means we only get to put 3 cards there, not 4. That's why there is no, if you look at the board again, there's no spot for the setup cards, because we have 4 different search zones up there. And, yeah, it works the same. Looks like we have to do 3 items where the top one is flipped over, 3 houses per quadrant, and then there's an X token, and that explains why there's a giant stack of these little tokens. It showed us on that other little thing, but there it is. But that's what the little token is there on the PDF there. Let's see here. X token. If something puts an item there, we have to move it, it looks like. And you can't. Okay, so this is interesting. Since the residents of Maple Lane are so suspicious, you cannot enter an occupied house, which means occupied being one or more victims are in there, using walk or sprint. They will have to be convinced to let you into their house. Panicking victims and enemies are not restricted. If a house is unoccupied, normal movement rules apply. So the important thing here is there's a new card called Convince. How nice of them. Okay, there it is. There's the Convince card. And this is the first time. Look at that. It has 3 successes on it. So you could actually get, wow, enter an adjacent house. You may take the top item. Oh, if you do, mark the house with a little X token. Enter the house. Wow, that's cool. Oh, man. Oh, man. Immediately return this card to the action. Oh, look at that. And there's 2 of them. It does give us 2, so there's that. We have 2 of those. Okay, well, that's interesting. Whole new cards. Okay, so Convince cards have an additional success line for when you get 3 or more successes on our horror roll. Then you can exit a house. Normally, it looks like. So that's Maple Lane, as far as the map goes. I like to take a look at maybe a couple of items. We're not going to go through the whole deck, but we can see that the Maple Lane items here, we'll just take, this is a good size stack of cards here. There's probably 15 different items there. Yeah, some of these I've never seen before, right? A pitchfork, a megaphone, a bicycle. I think a lot of stuff is duplicated. Like, I'm willing to bet, like, the pills are in here, things like that. The knife, the trash can lid. You're going to find some similar things in here, but when we set this game up, it's just going to be a mix of only 12 cards out of this whole stack, so that's cool. The setup cards, it looks like there are 5 of them. What are they called here? Revenge, Maple Lane, Playtime, A Quiet Place, and Block Party. So again, keeping them all themed here. I love it. That's fantastic, right? So we have 5 different setup cards here. That's pretty cool. All right, I haven't really looked at these yet, but we'll go through all those. We have an event deck. friendly neighbors, it's raining, party in the burbs. Oh, look at that. There's a couple. The Smallies, under construction. Okay, cool. All right, so there's a stack of those two that are all thematic towards Maple Lane. And now we're going to have to talk about Dr. Fright, who's a little scary here. So let's see here. He has the most instructions I've seen so far. Of course, Hans had none. Hans had nothing. But Dr. Fright is like a little booklet here. So he has it I think if I remember right, I cut this. I think it normally just opens up, and so you have a little booklet here. But I didn't like the way it fit in the box. I wanted it to be small, so I think I cut mine. But Dr. Fright, let's go back to our PDF here that talks about Dr. Fright and his special rules. So this is weird. This is super weird. Okay, so he has, I read these just a moment ago, so I had a rough understanding of what I'm about to read through here, and it's crazy. It's such a good idea, and it makes me wish I had a little bit more table space for something like this. So you can be awake and asleep. Where have I heard that before? And we start the game awake. So if you look down here, we have these cards, the awake cards, and then card, singular. This is awake and asleep, right? And there's 4 boiler room cards. Now I'm going to show you these because it's about to explain how these work here. You'll notice that these cards are divided into quadrants as well, and each one has a little creepy, I don't think I can get that there without any glare, maybe way over there, a creepy little Dr. Fright head or something, coming out on the card here somewhere in each of the 4 quadrants, 1 per card. And this, I lost my card here. Where is it? There it is. We're awake, and we got to start with it flipped over. Okay, so this is a little tricky. Let's go back to the PDF here. So you cannot attack Dr. Sleep when you're awake. Oh man, this is weird. Yeah, Dr. Fright is not able to attack you when you're awake, right? I can move, I can search, I can save victims. Dr. Fright is not able to attack you, and you are not able to attack him. When Dr. Fright resolves a killer action that begins with nearest victim or final girl, treat it as a final girl. And then he'll still attack a victim though if he's in the space. Wow, then he'll move towards us. That's crazy. So, all right. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some talking about this boiler room thing because it gets really crazy here. This is a really cool mechanic. Like this is like a whole new thing for this game. This is neat. You may move around the board when you're asleep and attack Dr. Fright and even search for items. This represents you moving around in the dream and perhaps manifesting an item or weapon. Dr. Fright can now attack you. Victims will not follow you. That's going to be hard to remember, nor are we able to save them, and we must resolve 1 boiler room card at the end of the killer phase. Now, here is how the boiler room works. This is the whole other 2 pages of the Dr. Fright instructions. So I'm not entirely sure it's worth reading through all of this because I can show you a little bit easier, I think, than what this is trying to say here. That's a lot of words for how it works. It comes with a nice little example that I did have to go through just to make sure I understood what it was saying here. And it's still a little nebulous here, but it's basically this is what happens. When we get put asleep, because look at the size of this terror deck. Right, there's a lot of cards here, and you only play with 10, right? So you've got things like better stay up late, better lock the door, never sleep again. It came right through the yard, road construction, it's too quiet. I said don't look back. These are all things, thematic to these 2 places. And some of them are specific to Maple Lane. I think like 8 of them are for Dr. Fright, and like 20 of them or something are for Maple Lane. I don't know what it says on this thing here somewhere. 8 of them for Maple Lane. Oh, so I have it backwards. And 16 for Dr. Fright. So they're very thematic, and that's again how you would mix this game up with other killers in different locations, and it still manages to follow a good theme here. Brilliant design, I gotta say. Okay, so what'll happen is apparently, let's just see if we can find one. No, I just want to see what it says. Oh man, I should have done it when I had them all separated because I hadn't actually separated them yet. Holy smokes, man, come on. I just want to, here, you fall asleep. So here's a card that says you fall asleep right there on the top, okay? So never sleep again. So we fall asleep, and what happens is we take this deck, and we take awake off the top, and you put it on the bottom. Then, while we're asleep, we flip it over. Now, apparently, we can do this as many times as we want. Is that what that said during the action phase? As many times as let's see here. When you successfully exit by revealing all 4 cards. Now, where is it here? You must always resolve one and exactly one boiler room card during the killer phase. You must resolve a card. You can choose to resolve as many as you wish during the action phase, including 0, but you must always resolve one and exactly one card during the killer phase. Okay. Uh-huh. To exit the boiler room and wake up. So it sounds like this is something, like obviously, I guess it only happens when you're asleep. Okay. So we're asleep, and to reveal a room, you move a card up, down, left, or right, and hope that you don't see his ugly little mug. Okay, so if we slide this card forward, there's no little ugly Dr. Sleep there. So now we can attempt it again. Now we know there's 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, and then right, and then left and right of those quadrants. So now we have to assume the next card down, there's only a 1 in 3 chance of it being down there, right? Because they're going to be a top left, a top right. Well, that was a top left and a top right. So we have a worse chance of their one being on the bottom now, right? So let's say we want to move this to the right. So we take both cards and we slide it to the right, and now we revealed both of those. And you see there's a creepy little Dr. Fright here, so he attacks us no matter where we are on the map because we're in like the dream world, right? Okay, so then we go again, and let's say we move it, I guess, down. So there's that like that. So now we have to use our brain power here, right? So we know that there is no Dr. Fright on the bottom of this card, the bottom of that card. So we know that there's a good chance that he's on the right-hand side of something. So if we scooch all these to the left, oh no, there he is again on the left-hand side. So he would attack us again, right? And now that all 4 are revealed, we then shuffle these cards up. The boiler room cards, we shuffle these up. We put the awake card back there, and we are back awake, wandering around Maple Lane. And I mean, that's really it, right? So let's go through that one more time. So we're awake. We shuffled up the cards, right? Probably beforehand. These are going to be tricky to maneuver. So we're awake. So we slide it underneath. We flip it over, and now we're asleep. And then we got to go up, down, left, to right. So this time, let's pull just this card down. So see, there's a creepy little Dr. Fright. So he would have got us. So now, let's say we move all of this over to. I mean, we can move down again. So there, right? So there's no Dr. Fright. So now, let's say we move it over to the right. Oh, there's a creepy little Dr. Fright, and now we could move everything down. It's just easy to do when I'm holding him. Oh no, there's another one. So see, he got us 3 times there. That's too bad. And that's exactly what's going to happen to me because I am very bad at this whole thing. So pretty neat. Let's take a look. You know what? I never read it here. Dr. Fright, the Dream Doctor. This is a Spring Hill police report. I was in some sort of boiler room, and a grotesque man with a pitchfork was chasing me. I was sure he was going to kill me. It felt so real. He had pockmarked scars all over his skin, and his eyes were milky white. A strange black something, maybe a cloud, but with eyes, swirled behind him. I was terrified, so I turned and ran. I rounded a corner and lost my footing. I staggered into some pipes, and they burnt my skin so badly. That's when I woke up. I thought it was all a dream, but I had a severe burn on my arm from the pipes. Oh man. So yeah, this is very much the legally distinct from Freddy Krueger, which is again awesome. I mean, I absolutely love it. I think that they did the right thing with this game here. They really did. And you know what's weird is I actually cannot remember what the other season 2 things are. There's 5 more, and I want to say one of them is like based on aliens, I think it's called the Xenomorph, and then one is based on the Thing, I think, and it's called like Outpost, some number, and it's all Arctic frozen stuff. And then I, honest to God, have absolutely zero clue what's in season 2. I just literally cannot remember what they were. The rest of season 1, we're gonna get to that hopefully very soon here as we plow through Maple Lane and Dr. Fright. But season 2 isn't actually in my hands yet. I know that the Kickstarter just landed. That kind of dates this video. The Kickstarter just landed in the US and has cleared customs. I think there was an update yesterday that was sent out from Van Ryder Games that told us that it's only just a matter of weeks now, and maybe 2-3 weeks we can expect to have season 2 in our hands, which is extra exciting. Except for that means we have our work cut out for us now to try to take on the rest of season 1 before we jump into season 2. Okay, I don't think anything. Oh, you know what? There were two, and I don't know where the other one went, so maybe I can't show you both of them. Two new final girls in this pack. Sheila and I don't see the card anywhere, so there's Sheila. We can take a look at her, take an improvised action card, and Nancy, and I just don't know where Nancy is. Right. Oh, she's my box. She might be in this box. Oh, no, I'm an idiot. She's the one we can see. Boom, there we are. Nancy and Sheila. There they are. There's the two final girls that come in this box. And I think that's about it. Again, Dr. Fright. He looks like he has a very similar setup, the minor dark power. There's two spots just like Hans had up there. And starts at 4 horror, so that's good. 9 hit points. They probably had to reduce it because you're not fighting him all the time. Sheila here has 2 time instead of 1 when discarding action cards. Oh, man, that's her ultimate power. Wait a minute. For each additional victim save, -1 horror. Oh, Sheila, you might be my new favorite person. Okay, and then Nancy. Nancy has like a whole story here. Nancy has a whole paragraph. Each time you lose normal health, you may reveal a black final health token from the general pool and swap it with your black final health token if you wish. If you do not remove it from the game, you cannot do this while with a white final health token. For each additional victim saved, restore a hit point. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. All right, well, this looks super exciting. I've got to shuffle up some cards and get this all set up to play, and we'll see you on the other side of this.